Since the fall of the Berlin Wall, one nation's military has stood alone, unmatched. But in a world of rising rivals and new technologies, how does the United States maintain its undisputed dominance? The answer lies not in a single secret, but in a deadly combination of technology, strategy, and 7 specific weapon systems that guarantee America's edge. This is the real story of the arsenal that has kept the peace and can win any war. For over 75 years, since the end of World War II, American military supremacy has been the defining fact of global security. While the Soviet Union challenged it for decades, its collapse in the early 1990s cemented U.S. dominance. Today, even as nations like China and Russia modernize, a mix of financial power, global reach, and technological leaps keeps America firmly at the top. It's more than just spending, it's about what that spending builds. We're going to examine the 7 key weapons in the U.S. arsenal that make this possible. And we have to start with the very foundation of it all: unmatched financial resources. For decades, the U.S. has poured unparalleled funding into its military, funding not just a massive force, but the relentless research and development needed to stay generations ahead. This has created a global network of bases, a fleet of aircraft carriers, and a suite of weapons no other nation can match. But the true heart of this power are the weapons themselves. Today, we begin with the 2 that represent the absolute extreme of American might: the weapon that guarantees no rival can risk a major attack, and the hidden vessel that ensures that guarantee can never be taken away. But before we talk about the hidden sentinels beneath the waves, we must understand the terrifying weapon that forms the bedrock of American security, a weapon so powerful it has only one purpose: to never be used. The most destructive publicly acknowledged weapon in the American arsenal is the LGM-30G Minuteman III Intercontinental Ballistic Missile, or ICBM. This isn't just a missile, it's a legend, a key strategic deterrent that forms the land-based leg of America's nuclear triad. Imagine 400 of these, on constant hair-trigger alert, buried in hardened silos across the heartland of America in Wyoming, Montana, and North Dakota. These aren't new. The Minuteman story began in the 1960s, a revolutionary shift from the vulnerable, liquid-fueled missiles of the past. But through over 60 years of continuous, silent upgrades, it remains as innovative and deadly as ever. This is a beast of engineering, over 79,000 pounds, 5.5 feet in diameter, capable of flying 6,000 miles to deliver its payload at a blistering 15,000 miles per hour. While each can technically carry 3 warheads, today they typically carry 1, either a W-78 or a more modern W-87 thermonuclear warhead. The yields are almost unimaginable. A single W-78 warhead, at 335 kilotons, is over 20 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. It would create a fireball nearly half a mile wide, flattening reinforced buildings for over 2.5 miles, and causing lethal burns up to 6 miles away. The W-87, while sometimes smaller, can be upgraded and is built with safer, more modern explosives. These missiles are the fixed pillar of American deterrence. But what if an enemy could find and destroy them all in a surprise attack? This is the terrifying question that led to the creation of America's most survivable weapon, a weapon that hides in the endless dark of the deep ocean. The existence of the Minuteman silos means an adversary might be tempted to try a first strike. That's why the second leg of the triad is the most crucial: the Ohio-class ballistic missile submarine, or SSBN. The U.S. has 14 of these silent giants. Their sole purpose is to disappear, even if a rival launched a full-scale attack, wiping out every U.S. airbase and missile silo. These submarines would still be out there, hidden, ready to unleash an apocalyptic response from anywhere in the world's oceans. This guarantees what strategists call assured destruction, making a direct nuclear attack on the U.S. an act of suicide for any nation. But the Ohio-class story has a fascinating conventional twist. At the end of the Cold War, the U.S. adapted 4 of these nuclear-armed behemoths into a new, terrifying conventional tool: the Guided Missile Submarine, or SSGN. The USS Ohio, Michigan, Florida, and Georgia were converted into what are arguably the most powerful undersea weapons delivery systems on the planet. These are not just submarines. They are clandestine, mobile command centers and special operations platforms. They can host up to 66 Navy SEALs or other special forces, with dedicated lockout chambers for stealthy underwater deployments. Powered by a nuclear reactor, they can lurk offshore for months. But their real punch comes from what's in their massive launch tubes. We're talking about a staggering arsenal of firepower, enough to launch a devastating, surprise conventional strike from the shadows. Just how much firepower? One of these SSGNs carries more cruise missiles than most entire navies. To understand the wave of destruction they can unleash, we need to examine America's go-to precision strike weapon, a weapon that has reshaped modern warfare. A submarine that can vanish for months, carrying a payload greater than most fleets. But what is the weapon it fires that makes it so feared? It's not a nuclear missile. It's a precision instrument of war that has become the signature of American power projection for over 40 years. This is the Tomahawk cruise missile. For decades, it has been the U.S. Navy's scalpel, a long-range, subsonic missile launched from ships and submarines to hit targets hundreds of miles inland, without ever risking a pilot. It's a testament to American engineering and, more importantly, to the U.S. strategy of continuous modernization. The Tomahawk wasn't born perfect. Early versions in the 1970s used terrain-matching guidance, but through blocks of upgrades adding GPS, then satellite links, then the ability to loiter and ray-target in mid-flight, the missile has been relentlessly improved. The current Block V version has hardened electronics, maritime strike capability, and software that can be updated like your phone. This evolution proves a critical point. America's edge is maintained not just by building new weapons, but by making old ones smarter, deadlier, and more adaptable for decades. So what does this 20-foot-long, 3,500-pound robot plane deliver? A devastating conventional punch. It flies low, skimming just 100,150 feet off the ground to avoid radar, at about 570 miles per hour. Its range is over 1,000 miles. It can carry a 1,000-pound or a 690-pound high-explosive warhead designed to penetrate and demolish reinforced concrete. A single Tomahawk can level a headquarters or a communications bunker. Now, remember the Ohio-class SSGN? It can carry up to 154 of these. Imagine a barrage of even 50 Tomahawks arriving without warning on a major military base, aircraft shelters, command centers, fuel depots, all struck with precision within minutes. It's a conventional attack with near-strategic effects. The Tomahawk is the weapon of choice for strategic strikes. But what happens when the target isn't a single building, but an entire valley, a cave network, or a massed army? For that, the US built a bomb so large, so destructive, it earned a name that tells you everything: the mother of all bombs. This is the GBU-43B Massive Ordnance Air Blast Bomb, the MOAB. With only about 15 ever built, this isn't a weapon for everyday use. It's a psychological tool as much as a destructive one, reserved for extreme scenarios where the US needs to demonstrate overwhelming, undeniable force. The fear it inspires is part of its power. The numbers are staggering. It's 30 feet long, weighs 21,600 pounds, and contains over 18,000 pounds of H6 explosive. Its blast yield is equivalent to 11 tons of TNT. It's so large it can only be dropped from the back of a specially modified C-130 cargo plane. Using GPS guidance, it glides to its target and is designed to detonate just above the ground, maximizing its airburst effect. The resulting shockwave can be lethal across a radius of up to 1 mile in open terrain, crushing structures, obliterating equipment, and clearing vast areas like minefields or troop concentrations. It has been used in combat only once, in 2017 in Afghanistan, against a complex of ISIS tunnels and fighters. The explosion killed over 90 combatants and sent a message heard around the world. But believe it or not, the US has an even heavier bomb. But what if the threat isn't spread across a valley, but buried deep under a mountain, protected by layers of rock and concrete. For those impenetrable fortresses, the Moab isn't the right tool. America needs a weapon that doesn't explode on the earth, but inside it. This is the job of the GBU-57A or B Massive Ordnance Penetrator, or MOP. At 30,000 pounds, it's heavier than the Moab, but its purpose is opposite. This bunker buster is designed to pierrot through dozens of feet of reinforced concrete or solid rock before it detonates. Its surface effects might look smaller than a tomahawk strike, but deep underground, it would vaporize a command bunker or a buried weapons facility, as was reported in simulations like the 2025 Operation Midnight Hammer. It's the weapon designed to hold even the most hardened underground targets at risk. Delivering these monumental bombs requires a very special aircraft. You can't just use any bomber. You need a plane that can travel globally, evade the most advanced air defenses, and place its payload with pinpoint accuracy. For that, the US built not just a bomber, but a ghost. A flying wing that slips through radar undetected, capable of circling the globe to deliver either a bunker-busting mop or a load of nuclear weapons. This is the aircraft that makes every adversary's air defense commander lose sleep. The legendary B-2 Spirit stealth bomber and the next-generation fighter that protects it are coming up. A bomb that can level a square mile or burrow deep into a mountain. But both are useless if the aircraft carrying them can be shot down long before it reaches its target. In the modern age of advanced radar and surface-to-air missiles, how does America get these weapons to the target? The answer: with aircraft that are virtually invisible. This is the B-2 Spirit. It doesn't look like any other aircraft because it isn't. Its flying wing design, composite materials, and special coatings are all engineered for one thing: low observability, or stealth. It drastically reduces its radar, infrared, and acoustic signatures, making it incredibly difficult for even the most sophisticated air defenses to detect, track, and engage. It's not just hard to see, it's designed to be ignored, mistaken for a bird, or simply not registered at all. Once this ghost reaches its target, it delivers a crushing blow. Powered by 4 engines, it can fly over 6,000 miles unrefueled, operating at 50,000 feet. It can carry up to 40,000 pounds of munitions in its internal bays to preserve its stealth. That payload can be a mix of 80 GPS-guided 500-pound bombs, 16 2,000-pound bunker busters, long-range cruise missiles like the JASSM, or, as we discussed, 2 of the massive 3,000-pound MOP bunker busters. It can also carry a full load of nuclear gravity bombs. From the Balkans to Afghanistan, Iraq to simulated strikes in the Pacific, the B-2 has proven it can hit any target, anywhere, anytime. And the first warning an enemy often has is the explosion. It is the ultimate strategic penetrator. The B-2 is the definitive heavy stealth bomber, but it's expensive and few in number. To control the skies, establish dominance, and protect assets like the B-2, America needs a more numerous, multi-purpose stealth aircraft, one that can fight for air superiority, conduct strikes, gather intelligence, and even direct other weapons. That role falls to America's most advanced fighter jet. This is the F-35 Lightning II Joint Strike Fighter. If the B-2 is the specialized ghost, the F-35 is the networked, versatile, all-seeing quarterback of the skies. It's a 5th-generation fighter, flown by the US and over a dozen allies, surpassing 1 million flight hours. Its stealth is more than just coatings. It's baked into its very shape and systems. But its real power isn't just in being hard to see, it's in what it sees and shares. The F-35E's pilot wears a helmet that lets them look through the floor of the aircraft via a network of infrared cameras. Its advanced radar and sensors gather vast amounts of information, which it can fuse and share instantly with other F-35s, with Navy ships, with Army units on the ground, or with command centers thousands of miles away. It's a flying supercomputer. In its stealth configuration, it carries weapons internally, air-to-air missiles for dogfights it will likely never see because it can shoot first from beyond visual range, and precision bombs for ground strikes. When stealth is less critical, it can switch to beast mode, loading up with over a dozen missiles for total air dominance. Crucially, it comes in 3 variants: the standard Air Force version, a Marine Corps version that can take off from short fields and land vertically like a helicopter, and a Navy version with strengthened landing gear and hooks for aircraft carriers. And speaking of aircraft carriers, the Navy's F-35Cs need a mobile base of operations that can project this immense air power to any coastline on Earth. This brings us to the crown jewel of American conventional military might, a floating city of war that is the ultimate symbol of global power projection. For 50 years, that symbol was the Nimitz-class aircraft carrier. But today, a new class has taken the throne, incorporating technologies that seem like science fiction. It's larger, more powerful, smarter, and carries more aircraft than any other warship ever built. It is the centerpiece of a naval strike group so powerful that no nation dares to challenge it directly on the open ocean. This is the ultimate non-nuclear weapon in the American arsenal. What does it take to build a 100,000-ton warship that can sail for decades without refueling, launch a new generation of stealth fighters every minute, and survive attacks that would sink any other vessel? The answer defines American naval supremacy for the next half-century. The final part of our series, next. A stealth bomber that can strike anywhere. A fighter jet that sees the entire battlefield. But to sustain global dominance, America needs a mobile, unsinkable airbase that can bring this air power to any hotspot on the planet within days. Not just a ship, but a sovereign piece of American territory that can operate independently for years. This is that ship. This is the USS Gerald R. Ford, the first of its class and the most advanced aircraft carrier in human history. The numbers defy belief: 1,100 feet long, 100,000 tons of displacement, a crew of over 4,500, and the capacity to carry up to 90 aircraft. It is powered by 2 new A-1B nuclear reactors that provide nearly triple the electrical power of previous carriers, enough to potentially power future weapons like lasers and railguns. This energy fuels its most revolutionary features: the electromagnetic aircraft launch system EMLS and advanced arresting gear. Instead of old-fashioned steam catapults, EMLS uses magnetic fields to launch aircraft. This is gentler on the airframes, allows for more precise launches of everything from heavy fighter jets to light drones, and requires less maintenance. It is the heart of a more lethal and efficient air wing. The carrier's design is also inherently adaptable, with a flexible interior layout and weight allowances built in to accept new technologies over its planned 50-year service life. At the center of a carrier strike group escorted by guided missile destroyers, cruisers, attack submarines, and supply ships, the Ford-class carrier is the ultimate instrument of national power. It is a visible, undeniable statement. Where it sails, American interests are protected. Its mere presence can deter conflict, and if deterrence fails, it can unleash the full might of its air wing, including the F-35Cs, Super Hornets, and electronic warfare jets, delivering a concentration of firepower that no other nation can match from the sea. The Ford-class carrier may be the pinnacle of today's technology, but the race for tomorrow has already begun. The weapons that will define the next era of American dominance are already moving from the drawing board to the testing ground. The 7 systems we've covered: the Minuteman III, the Ohio-class subs, the Tomahawk, the Moab or MOP, the B-2, the F-35, and the Ford-class carrier represent the apex of current military thinking. They combine stealth, precision, range, survivability, and sheer destructive power in a way that sustains the U.S. advantage. But dominance is not static. The U.S. is already developing the next generation: the Sentinel ICBM to replace the Minuteman, the Columbia-class ballistic missile submarine to replace the Ohio, the B-21 Raider, new, more advanced stealth bomber, hypersonic missiles that travel at over Mach 5, and directed energy weapons like lasers and microwaves for missile defense and offensive strikes. The goal remains the same as it was after World War II: to maintain such an overwhelming technological and strategic lead that no rival would ever consider direct confrontation. It is a strategy built on deterrence, on the ability to project power globally, and on the relentless innovation that keeps these 7 weapons and their successors decades ahead of the rest of the world. So, while challenges will always emerge, the combination of financial might, global basing, technological ingenuity, and this devastating arsenal ensures that for the foreseeable future, the United States military will remain, as it has for generations, the strongest on the planet. Thanks for watching.